Now I want to watch this video with you, and Gary gets into the real meat and potatoes. What specifically should we be asking? What questions should we be asking? What information should we be finding out to make sure that we're driving maximum revenues on every call?
So what we've got going on here is a number of questions. Now, we have 12 questions that we've listed out. Your company might have 8 questions that it wants done. It might have more than 12 questions. There's no right or wrong answer in terms of how many questions. It really comes down to the flow of the call, and every service call is unique and different. It's like children. They all have strengths and weaknesses. The consumer itself is going to have a social style. You might be doing business with somebody in a wealthy neighborhood that isn't even the owner. Many areas like West Palm Beach or Scottsdale, Arizona, we're doing business with somebody who's maybe a professional who's managing the property for somebody who's very wealthy. So the process itself is sound in the sense that we're going to ask that first question. Tell me about what the problem is or what problems you're having. And so that is an open-ended, high-gain question. It's not a yes or a no. Yes, I'm having a problem. No, I'm not having a problem. What they're going to say is, well, it's not cooling. Okay, great. Would you mind if we took a look at, what's going on inside of the system? And so you can advance the sales process. Look at the second question. When was the last time that your total comfort system was installed? What was the last time you actually put this in? What was the date that somebody installed it? You can even ask the question of, who installed the system for you and when? And so most customers aren't actually going to know that. I just bought a house, I just sold one and bought a new one. I have no idea when it was installed. So that gives me the opportunity to say, well, I'll take a look at it. We have information using a database, which by the way is the Preston Guidebook. Hopefully you all have the Preston Guidebook, or you have access to a database that's the Preston Guidebook on your system. I can look at the model number and serial number and the coil model number and serial number and match the system. And I can later come back and say to the homeowner, well, it looks like it was installed, or at least manufactured on these dates, and it probably was installed very close to that. So your system is approximately X number of years old. Well, why that's important to the client is later repair versus replace has a distinct possibility. And so we'll have that conversation with the homeowner. So once I know what the age of the equipment is on the installation and I've identified the Preston Guidebook, you can look at the third question, which is, have you had maintenance done on the system? Do you know if you've had any maintenance, or what type of maintenance have you had done? So have you had maintenance done on the system is a yes or no question. That's a shutdown question. Yes. So if it's a difficult customer, they might be saying yes. If it's a question that you phrase this way, where we look back at the slide and we say, well, what type of maintenance have you had performed on the system? The customer can't answer yes or no to that question. They have to say, well, I haven't had any maintenance done on the system. Or maybe the answer is, well, I've had, ABC heating and cooling out, and I'm not really sure what they did. And so that gives me the opportunity then to continue to target that process. And so you also have what we call the limited provide in the sales process, meaning step 6 is where we provide solutions. But every once in a while, for example, when a customer says, well, I'm not really sure, they may actually ask you a question. If their social style is amiable and or analytical, they may come back and say, I'm not sure what I've had done on the system. We just bought the house, so I'm not 100%. What kind of maintenance should we have? Well, a limit to provide would be a point where you as a service technician could say, well, we know for a fact that if we actually do regularly scheduled maintenance, which is at least 2 times a year, depending on the agreement, that not only will the life of the equipment probably last a lot longer based on our own studies and research, but your efficiency, your operating costs, saving energy, and just generally fewer repairs are going to result because we do regular maintenance. And I'll be happy to go over that with you, a little bit later in the call. And in fact, if you want, while we're doing the work, why don't you come with me? And so you can invite the customer and involve it. Now, a lot of technicians are going to get nervous about that because they don't like the homeowner right over top of them hanging on. But the most successful service technicians, if you're watching this video, you already know that by asking that customer to be involved in that process, having them come with you is your opportunity to connect with them, your opportunity to ask them additional questions in an environment, your opportunity to explain to them what's happening, what's going on. Now, I get that in Phoenix, Arizona, when it's 120 degrees and you've got a rooftop unit, that a customer's probably not coming up there with you. But in some marketplaces where we do business, where we have basements or where we have areas where it's a comfortable area, or where we're working inside, maybe there's a control issue or an airflow issue. Having the customer attached to you is absolutely something that you should embrace, and you should make sure that you invite them to do.